I'm Jason Turman. This is Power of a Madman's Cheese. And let's talk about conventions. I'm sorry if I end up sounding like I'm going to rush through some of this stuff, but man, I don't know. I have tried to record this vlog for I don't know how many times in a row, and it just seems like I either end up getting distracted uh, in the middle of talking, or just sort of go off on a rant and a ramble and just like it goes absolutely nowhere. So conventions. Um, yeah, I don't know what you think of when I say conventions, but I think of like the anime, comic book, and sci-fi conventions. The kind of conventions where people dress up as their favorite characters in elaborate costumes, go to these various different panels that just have just all sorts of discussions in them. Um, there's dealers' rooms, video rooms that show like different movies and television shows, just all sorts of stuff. It's a really they're all really interesting to go to. I've been probably regularly attending them since 2004, I guess. I want to say it's 2004. Uh, and I mean, before then, it was sort of like some off and on stuff. Like I went to some toy shows when I was younger, though those were usually just the dealer's room, really. So I don't know. And then I went to an anime con in 2001, I think. Yeah, it was. Went to NakoCon in 2001. That's the local anime convention, and I mean, I thought it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty neat, but like I said, I didn't really get into going to them with any sort of regularity until about like a few years later. Uh, the main difference being was when I went in 2001, I commuted back and forth to the from my house to the convention center, whereas in 2004 we ended up going back to NakoCon, but we ended up getting a room at the Red Roof Inn, which, by the way, be leery of rooms at the Red Roof Inn. Always. Uh, I mean, unless you like doors that don't latch, and uh, you know, just tiny, like yeah, like just. But and then kind of from there, like I went to like just a bunch of different. I've been to a bunch of different conventions over the years. Um, I've noticed like the energy is a bit different at all of them. Like comic book conventions are pretty straightforward. Like there's like nothing really exterior going on about them. In fact, that's probably closer to the toy shows that I had described before. That it's just a dealer's room for the most part. Like that's kind of all that's really going on with those. Then you have your sci-fi cons, which uh, I don't know. It's sort of hard to say. Like a lot of sci-fi cons end up looking like what's called a lot of people call them relaxicons, and that's because they start to have like the panels and they have the dealer's room and everything. But for the most part, at the sci-fi cons, it's just a bunch of people just kind of chilling, relaxing, drinking a lot of alcohol. uh, I've seen like, and like, it just sort of boggled my mind. Like, it's not, you know, stereotypical like nerd thing. You never think of, like, it's just a, a bunch of people like horn rimmed glasses, like, with asthma problems, just sort of sitting around. And while that, I can't necessarily say that that's, that stereotype doesn't, it's not always completely accurate. But you get surprised though when all of a sudden it's like you might go to a friend's hotel room, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you have a bar here. Like, you pretty much just brought a bar. Like, wow. Kids, drink responsibly. I mean, God, adults, drink responsibly. Wait until you're 21. No. First quote gets taken out of context. Jason Turman advocates child alcoholism. News at 11. Because people are going to be reporting that. Obviously, everyone wants to know about me and wants to report about me. So that's clearly a thing, right? Yeah. And then sort of like from there, you have the anime cons, which I don't. It's basically, and it's really funny when we have friends like, say, Mitch, Regina, John, and all of them. Which, by the way, hi, if you are watching. They typically go to the Sci-Fi cons, and then they'll occasionally also come up to an anime convention, and the energy that that's at those places, it always startles them, because it's basically, it's like this, like, for maybe minus that sound. I don't know what that was. Like, the sound's probably more like, yeah, as opposed to like, like that just sounds like I'm dying. But imagine that for like a weekend, and then imagine that you've only been used to, like, just sort of, hey, for at these conventions. It's always funny to see the startled, frightened look on their faces when like you just have like conga lines going past, and it's just like, why? So yeah, I don't really know if that answered anything. I don't know if that really if the talk went into much detail about anything. I have no clue. But at least this is more coherent than some of my other versions of this particular vlog. What else? I guess for random links stuff, I could probably put some in the comments below. I do have PDKUP photography, which I don't know if I've talked about on here before, which is it's just me taking pictures, and I'm going to be at Katsucon this next weekend. I'm gonna be there, so I'll be taking the pictures. If anybody wants me to take pictures, I mean, because normally I'm just gonna go around and take pictures, but I see a lot of people. You have a lot of people going as photographers at these conventions, and they'll set up like these photo shoots. I haven't really, no, I was about to say that I haven't really done those per se. Like, no, I have. Like, I've done that with Mike and Tori. Like, I've done a number of different photo shoots with them. So, but if you're interested, you can send me a message there or here. I don't care if if you're just somebody who just happened to stumble upon this video, like, oh hey, I recognize you from the video, because I'll probably type in Katsucon or something in different conventions in here. It's like, feel free to say hi to me, and I'll just stare at you awkwardly because I won't know who you are, and I'll just, you know, just sort of just. It might not be like so much of the like the deer and headlights stare that I just gave, but it'll be on the inside. And I'll do like a video update sometime after the convention too. So I'll have something up at that point. So anyway, I guess till next time, Space Monkeys.